Anthony McNaughton. Okay, sir. So we were just saying, prep for Sheffield is going good, and you were saying how you've been super busy, but it's not a bad thing because it gets your mind off of straight up competing.
Yes, that's it. Busy mind, it helps me stay locked in. It's weird. It's good.
Look at I'm the exact same way. If I have there's a tipping point of overloading your plate, then you have too much, and it's a little you're a little too busy, got too many getting pulled in too many directions. But there is if you were just 100% focused on one thing and you don't have anything else, you're just focused on, let's say it's that competition rolling up, it becomes all encompassing. And that's when it's not a bad thing to have other things to quote unquote distract you.
100%.
What so you have full-time job and coaching and an athlete?
Yeah. Yeah. It's so I'm in education. Right now I am teaching, doing some teaching. So that's my day-to-day job. And then I got the coaching on the side, and I got this. This is like powerlifting is like that second job, now it is. Um, but I stay busy, like from all hours of the day, I'm doing something. It's never quite often that I have downtime. So it's good. I like to be busy.
What grades do you teach? Do you teach like grade schools?
Yeah, so elementary, I'm in K through 5. So the program I'm in, it's a really nice program. It's for behavioral students, so students
Mm.
that have anger issues and other behavioral challenges. They're all there. So it's a good environment to be. I feel that my presence does help a lot of these children. So it's tough, but it's really rewarding.
No kidding, dude. So, because I have a buddy who, like a little different. He's working with, forget the ages, but in group homes as well. And you see, I mean, he's seen. I can't obviously go into like full on details, but there's been some wild stories. People
Right.
from very difficult backgrounds. And so yeah, it's a rewarding job because you could like literally turn somebody's life around.
Yes.
On the flip side, um, extremely difficult because you see what like some of their background stories are horrific, and it's difficult to not take that home with you. And then some of the things you'll walk into can be very difficult as well. Um, but on the flip side, like how did you get into that? What made you want to get into that?
I went to school, to college for PE, for phys ed, to become an educator. And so putting out applications and meeting people, I found this job opportunity. And since then, I kind of just meshed in. On Long Island, where I am, it's really competitive to get a full-time teaching gig. So you got to put in your work. So I think that I was very fortunate to come across this job. Now, it I don't know where I want to go, but right now I know I'm where I need to be.
Mm, that's well said. Yeah, in terms of like you saying like your presence. Well, first off, being a world champion athlete is going to be like the easiest of icebreakers. And something like powerlifting, because you're huge, people who might not have seen you in real life yet, like you are freaking really are McDouble thick. Like you are huge. Um, and it's an easy icebreaker because of there's different sports where you might have to like explain what the sport is or whatever, but powerlifting, it's literally I got you. You are an extremely strong guy. Like it's pretty cut and dry. He is a world champion powerlifter. Like he's incredibly strong. Easy icebreaker. And where some sports, some people are into it and or not into it. You walk in the room and someone's like, "That's one of the strongest men in the world."
Yeah.
That is immediately cool. It is so. In terms of for your presence, um, it'll probably work on a couple different levels where they would look up to you and they would listen to you because people listen to athletes, the discipline and structure and everything that athletes go through to achieve their goals,
Right.
which is it's commendable and it's something that those kids look up to. But also the fact that you're incredibly jacked and incredibly strong is going to be cool as shit to them too, especially kindergarten to grade 5. Like
Oh yeah.
that's like
It's like they're always asking me like, "Oh, like, can you pick up a car? Like, can you like throw a car up in the sky?" And so I'll play into it, but I'm like, I can pick the car up. I don't know about throwing it in the sky. But it's cool. Like, I remember being a kid, like in elementary school, and any one of like the male teachers in my school, I was always like, huh, like I kind of want to like, especially the ones that were fit and in shape. Like, I want to be like that. Like that guy is strong. Like I want to be strong like whoever it was, Mr. So and so. Um, like that's the first thing, right? Like as a kid, you're always looking at superheroes, I feel like. A lot of kids do. They look up to superheroes. Um, but it's another thing when you interact with that Mr. Whoever, and that person's also a great person. They have depth to them. You learn from them. So now, like to the eye, they're awesome. They're a superhero. But you talk to them and you're like, wow, like not only is he so strong and could probably like, you know, whatever. Um, he's also someone that is really, really good. He's really calm, collected, cool. Maybe I should be like that, you know? So
mm,
that's what I kind of approach my interactions with the students, right? Like, yes, I could do really cool things, but I'm also someone that's high of moral character. And I feel like that's the most important thing. That bridge of being an athlete, right, helps me build that rapport. And it almost kind of gives them a positive role model to look up to all around the board, not just being a strong athlete. So it's really cool. And the kids pick up on it too. I think that kids are very intelligent, more than what people might grasp on. And so it's all about how you carry yourself. So every time I'm in that building, it's just like I'm always just bring out the best.
I so it's important to keep those kind of things in mind. All of us remember certain conversations when you were a kid with an adult, and you will never forget them. We all have a couple, and you will not forget it. Or if you met somebody of impact, I I still remember when George Chavallo came to my high school to talk to my high school. Um, and like Chavallo fought Ali twice, fought Foreman, Frazier, all of them.
Yeah.
And I will never forget when George Chavallo came to my high school and talked about drug abuse and how he lost. George Chavallo lost, like I think it was he's had 5 sons, and I think 4 of the 5 were heroin addicts. And he came to my high school. Like you got to understand, when I grew up, my grandpa would tell me stories about boxers like these guys, like they were fairy tales before I'd go to sleep. And like we'd go through books, like picture books, and I would see pictures of like 1920s boxers like Jack Dempsey, and he's at a Hollywood premiere in the 1920s, and it would be like seeing pictures in the fairy tale too. Like I really really looked up to these guys. So when George Chavallo's coming to my school, this was more than a big deal. This was like a guy out of a book coming, look, one of those books coming, and I was like 15 or something. And so he shows up, and we watched a movie of his sons, like interviews with the sons, whatnot. It's about 20 minute, and his sons talking about the abuse, the drug abuse, and I'm not sure why 4 of the 5. So something's going on there. So, anyways, at the end of the movie, he's only got one of the 4 sons left. The other one's all committed suicide. And that son was saying, I need to hang in there for my dad, because if I go, I don't know what's going to happen to my dad. The mother, by the way, committed suicide because she couldn't handle the grief. So the last son was like, I need to be around for my dad. And then we turned off the documentary, and George Chavallo got up to the mic to address the high school crowd and says, a month after that documentary came out, that son committed suicide.
Oh,
And
man.
you're seeing this dude like George Chavallo, like is like he 97 pro fights, never been off his feet, and all the guys he fought, and to see him on the mic, lip trembling, and like in his hand he had I'll never forget, in his hand he had these like Kleenex, but he wasn't batting his eyes with it. I think he was just holding a bundle of it just because he was nervous.
Right.
He was scared and nervous, man. And it's because he's like he's one of the bravest men in the world. It's crazy what he's been through in his life the people he's fought, what he's been through, and he was scared to talk to us. We're 14, 15-year-olds. I
Yeah.
and dog, this is the 90s, man. I ain't never gonna forget that. And he hung back, and all of us got to go up and shake his hand, and we're like, you see how big his hands are? Like, that those hands were punching Muhammad Ali and Frazier and
Yeah.
Foreman, and like, we, I mean, we all went back to our classes afterwards, and every single one of our classes, nothing was taught, no math, no science. We just talked about George Cavallo and what he was saying, and him saying, don't do drugs and like mental health and substance abuse and the whole nine. And the irony is, my best friend in high school, who I lived with in my early 20s, was also crazy into boxing and later on MMA like me. And I remember we were so hyped when Shavala was coming, and he actually slept in, cold and sick. Like, it didn't call in sick, just didn't show up. And when he showed up in the afternoon, we were all outside. And I was like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? And he's like, what? Like, yeah, whatever. I slept in, whatever. And I'm like, dog, you missed George Chavallo.
Oh,
And he's like, he couldn't believe it. He couldn't believe it. That he's like, oh my God, that was today. Yeah, that was today, dog. What are
yeah.
you thinking, man? George Chavallo. He's gone, man. He's gone. That came and went. You missed George Chavallo. And I'm like, dog, this is our guy. So,
Oh,
anyways, um, that guy's name was Breezer, my friend. And Breezer ended up addicted to drugs. And by the time, like, Breezer died like 4 or 5 years ago.
I'm sorry.
And this is why I say, like, the ironic part, man. This is like, he missed it. And at the time, this is before like fucking he had ever touched any drugs. But yeah, dog. I don't know. You're like, if only he would have was there. I don't know if it would have done anything or been impactful. But all this to say, like, I know your background story. You did amazing in talking Road to Sheffield. Was phenomenal, by the way. And
Thank
anyone
you.
who hasn't seen it should go see that. But you being involved with these kids, I think even any of them or any of the parents or anybody finds your like Road to Sheffield or anything you're doing, and you being in these kids' lives, like, I'm telling you, Anthony, you could be doing George Chavala moments and you don't know it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
like, for real. Do you ever think about stuff like that?
I do. I think a lot of what I feel with my now, the platform that I have, the one thing I always want to do is give back. I want to be there. And after that Road to Sheffield video, I actually had a few people message me personally. All of them were young men, and they were going through similar situations. And so I talked to them, you know, and it was it was really nice because it seemed like every single one of them needed that conversation. And not only was it just like a conversation with someone that just happened to see the video, these people are in the same sport. So you have that rapport there. And then they see my guard down, and I'm just talking with them man to man and giving them any bit of advice that I could, right? Not that I necessarily feel that I needed to, but I just wanted to. I want to give
Yeah.
back. And I know, like, me personally, it was hard for me sometimes to, like, at least like in people, okay, in podcasts I listen to in powerlifting, there are some people I could relate to a little bit, but everyone's got different stories, and my story could be a different story that someone might relate to, and I just want to help close those links in. And I think about that all the time, like what I could do in the future as I continue to solidify my name in the sport. There's so much that I can do, and I want to give back, and that's all I want to do.
Are you familiar with the Tyson Fury story?
Not so much, no.
Um, so Tyson Fury was he literally was named after Mike Tyson. He was born in 1988, and Mike Tyson was the heavyweight champion of the world. And I'm gonna bring this back to you at the end. Don't worry, and we'll be back on track. Don't worry. So, um, born in he was literally named after Mike Tyson, and his dad in said he's a premature baby, and his dad said this guy's going to be the heavyweight champion of the world someday. That's why I named him Tyson after Mike Tyson. And the doctor's like, sir, He'd be lucky if he survives. He's a pound and he's incredibly small. And, that like you need to, like, this is very serious. Tyson Fury he makes it. He ends up being like 6'9", 300-pound monster. Goes into boxing just like his dad said. And his entire life, it was like, you call it destiny, birthright, whatever. He had to become the heavyweight champion of the world. He had to. It literally, this is almost like why he's here. It's who he's named after. It was proclaimed the day of his birth. His father, you imagine the pressure and everything. So when Tyson Fury finally won the world title, and he won the world title, when he won it, he said it was the best day and worst day of his life. And I'll explain. Best day in that, oh my God, I did it. I fulfilled my destiny, my birthright, everything. Worst day when he found out it feels the exact same as yesterday. There's no rolling of the credits. There's no happily ever after. You wake up the next day and you're like, what am I doing now? My entire life was geared towards this moment. I did it. And you wake up the next day and life feels the exact same. Depression hits. He bloats up to 450 pounds, stops fighting, ends up a drug addict, alcoholic, and he's in and out of institutions. And 4 years pass. He's completely lost it. And he's being mocked by Deontay Wilder, who won his vacant title when he was gone. And Deontay Wilder, an American who's like knocking everybody dead. Just like his knockout ratio is like 97%.
Jeez.
And he mocks Tyson Fury when Tyson Fury gets brought up in an interview. And Tyson Fury said, that's it. That's all I needed. Got back into shape and they fought. And Tyson Fury had a remarkable comeback. Fights, and in the last round, Tyson Fury gets knocked down. And I mean, knocked down as done gets. And Deontay Wilder starts celebrating. Like, well, that's a wrap. That's what I do. And Tyson Fury got up, and it looked like from literally the depths of hell, like he was as gone gets, rises to his feet, and not only closes out the round, but attacks and finishes the fight on his feet. And it ended in a draw. They rematch. Tyson Fury wins. Blah blah blah. Great story. They asked Tyson Fury, "Why did you get up? Like, how did you get up?" And he said, "I had to prove to people that just because you have mental illness does not mean you're weak. There's a difference. It didn't mean I was weak." And he thought that's what that meant when he mocked me. And then he found out the difference when we fought. And it's such a difficult thing for people. Mental illness and mental health and addiction is so difficult for people to wrap their heads around, because how can someone be so strong in one moment and deal with this? We can't fully wrap our heads around. It's very difficult to unpack. Very, very difficult to unpack. And that's why, like, these conversations, to your point, it's important, man, because it's difficult. People still don't understand. Like, it's even people going through it. It's difficult to discuss and explain.
Right. Absolutely. Wow. That honestly, like this whole story here, like I'm just, it gives me like goosebumps, honestly. I think personally, it's like it's almost similar to me with like the powerlifting route. I got the world title, and that's what I've been chasing really this whole time. And I kind of talked about how my mother said that I'd be great one day, and it was almost kind of like I didn't she didn't really know my road was gonna go, but she would always remind me that I would do great things, that I would do something great. And I happen to take that with this sport. This was my route to be great, to do something. And I also mentioned like that I felt like I was in a little bit of a clock with her and her health. And, unfortunately she wasn't there to see it happen. But like I'm kind of going all over the place here. But that second attempt squat, 793 when I got three reds, that was a tough blow. I It's like I could relive 2022 Junior Worlds and I could, put myself in a compromised position, or I could rewrite everything and just smack this third attempt. And I feel like that was like my Tyson Fury getting up was almost like I'm not gonna let this smack me down. I'm gonna take what's mine. I'm going to get it. And it's kind of crazy because I guess we get to this whole thing, but I truly felt that she was there with me through that third attempt. I don't know how to really put my words on it, but she definitely was there. Um, man. And like now there's so much to unfold here, but I feel like Sheffield right now for me, even though I hit that hallmark of getting a world title, I think I'm resculpting my goal with this sport. And I think a big avenue is if I continue to build my credentials and build my name in the sport, right? The more people that'll naturally gravitate towards me, right? And I could use this to help people. And I'm not saying necessarily, go in my way and be like, but if people want help, if people, you know, listen to me and they feel better after and can relate, man, that's all that matters to me at this point. I don't think any sort of title or accolade could really bring me that fulfillment as someone, reaching out and be like, listen, I look up to you, I'm in a similar boat. How would you navigate this? And I have that conversation with them and they end up, how like navigating their own. Like that to me precedents any sort of accolade right now. So I think my whole sense is repurposed and my whole goal with powerlifting has re shifted after that world title. And I'm gonna keep doing the good fight, you know?
It's I'll pull up. So first off, to finish Tyson Fury, this is perfect. He said so the second go around as champion, it's the reason why it didn't feel empty, like the first time he won, is because then he realized he had a purpose. All of a sudden it became, and everything felt a whole lot different when you have a purpose. When you have a why, that's not just achievement goal. Let me get this just for the sake of getting this. Let me just. It's different. And then his second go around was a whole nother thing. And there's this one quote that I gotta pull up. I'm gonna find it right now. This is totally off the cuff. Quote about. Let me see if I can't find this. Okay. He says, and blah blah blah. Okay, I'm looking for this. Anyways, he said you were down and you were out. How out were you? And he's like, probably for like 4 seconds, it was totally black and I was completely unconscious. And then they're like, what was going through your head? And he said, I had to get up. I had to get up to prove to anybody watching that mental health is not a weakness. So it wasn't just for him. And
Right.
that's what gave him that strength to be able to do it.
Right.
But I mean, it's tough because the pressure probably is a whole lot greater as well. And I don't know if maybe, you know, it gives you purpose, but also you're like, God, everybody's counting on me. Do you it's a yin and a yang. It's a little bit of both, isn't it? Like, do you feel that as well now that you've been opening up and people are following you and listening to your story? Because I'll tell you, it is impactful in ways you might not know. When Taylor Atwood came on here and started talking about his situation, it shocked a lot of people. First off, mental health, addiction, and whatnot going on in his family and how it impacted him. And then on top of that, so like it took him years to be able to come out with this. I had him on King of the Lifts like for years. It's Taylor Atwood
Yeah.
constantly and never knew until everyone came on the Sheffield episodes and talked about their background. And some of them were incredibly honest and raw conversations about how people came up and their background stories. And then Taylor reached out to me and said, I think I need to tell my story. And I told him, you mean retell it? Because we've done this. And I'm like, the answer is yes. And he's like, no, we haven't. I'm paraphrasing, but he's like, I haven't told you the real story. And I'm like, I'm not sure what that means. I had him on, and he said, like, he opened up off the cuff, I am not the golden boy everyone thinks. And then he told his story of how he came up, staying at sports games or like if there's a practice for sports, he stayed long and late because he's afraid to go home. Shit like that. And
Yeah.
that when he was talking like that, it was his I haven't seen like Taylor's lips started shaking. And I was like, holy shit. It was as raw and honest as you get. And what so later on, I don't know if you heard the Christmas special, but Joe B mentioned just in passing. We asked him about, what he's doing, the holidays, family, or whatever, and he just said he didn't want to get into it, and the Christmas special is pretty light and easygoing. We have fun, so it
Right.
really wasn't a time to get into it. But he just said, you know what Taylor's went through? Said he went through. And I said, yeah. He's like, I'm going through it, and it's that. So here's the thing, exactly that though. People are listening and they take strength from it,
Yes.
and ironically as well, freaking Taylor and Joe were like the guys who were battling on the platform. And Taylor now knows there was a point in time when Taylor was on the come up and he was like cocky and whatever as Taylor Atwood. But now Taylor knows he's an elder statesman, and some of these guys he battles now don't see him as a competitor so much like he's a competitor, but they also see him as someone they look up to.
Right.
And he probably had no idea that that young guy he's battling, when Taylor first won his first national title, Joe B was in fifth grade. So he probably has no idea, Taylor, who's like 15 years older than him, that that kid that you're battling also, though, heard your podcast and probably looks up to you in ways you have no idea and takes strength from you. And it's like an honor, and it's like a whole nother, you mean so much different to him than you probably even fully understand. You're just existing and you're in the room, and he sees you thinking like, because you did that, it's easy for him to wrap his head around. I could do this. I could do this too. Not to speak too much for Joe or anything. I'm generalizing, obviously, and Joe didn't go full on into his background or what he's dealing with, but it's yeah, man. People are listening. People are watching. You have no idea. You have no idea who.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's another reason why I've been opening up a little bit more is just because I think to myself, I could keep this all in and I cannot share my story, right? But I have this opportunity, same way that Taylor has done for so many, to to give people strength when they need it, right? Even if it's competitors, even if it's people helping people, and I think that matters so much. Um, there's a lot more to me than just the whole mother thing. There's a lot more depth to the story, but I think that was a good segue into a little bit of my background. And I think that like it's nerve-wracking. Like when you open up in front of so many people, I think it could be very, very tough. And that's
Mm.
something that I think I was struggling with was like, man, once I say this stuff, like it's gonna be out there. But then I started thinking to myself, like, yeah, it's gonna be out there. It's gonna help people. So it's almost like that internal conflict where it's like, am I ready to do this? Will I ever be ready to do it? Probably not. But I think part of me as a man knows that I have to. It's just something telling me that I have to. And I know it's the right move. My gut's telling me it's the right move.
Did you want to talk about it right now?
Yeah, might as well.
Might as well.
There's so much to kind of debunk, but I think, it's good. I guess I'll just kind of start. Um, so in the midst of my mother starting with addiction and struggling with addiction, so let me get this backstory straight. My brother was just born, and right after that, there was the start of the decline, essentially. And it wasn't like when you're young, you don't really notice it, but I noticed there was something going on. There was something weird going on. But anyway, we'll flash past a few years, and now mom is suddenly out and about, like just gone out of the house, right? My brother and I didn't really, obviously, my brother's young. We don't know what's going on, We didn't really know for a while. Um, Anyway, we start visiting her once in a while down in Florida, this and that. Whole thing's good. Dad's still doing good. Dad's around town. And I talked to my dad before I got onto a podcast. Like, is that all right if I talk about you a little bit? Of course, dude, please. If our story could help, like,
Mm.
free fall. So my dad knows it's all good. My father, military man, FDNY, so city firefighter. He's had his tough run-ins with drug addiction as well. And in the midst of everything going on with our mother at first, when she was gone out of the picture, he was also gone out of the picture as well, going in and out of rehab. In the beginning, we weren't really sure where he was, what he was doing. It was kind of just like, oh, he's gone. All right, we'll be at grandma's house. Which grandmother, amazing woman. She's amazing. I gotta get her to a meet one day.
Mm.
But anyway, dad's struggling, mom's struggling, and this is just a constant cycle going through the years. And it got to a point where, dad was starting to miss like big things. Mom was never around. So I almost felt that I had to mask my insecurity of not having my mother around, knowing that she wasn't doing the right thing, um, which I didn't know really what it was at the time, the severity of it. So when my friends were like, "Oh, where's your mom at?" She's, things are going on. She's good. She's like on a bit, whatever, just lying. There was like just years of like lying and hiding. Um, and I felt that I was trying to protect her. In a way, I didn't want people knowing that business. I didn't feel like it was my business to share. But it was embarrassing. I mean, like even teachers would catch on, like, oh, like, you know, mom, dad, and I'd have to explain the situation, and it was just like it was shitty. Like, like what kind of a kid, like what kid wants to tell a teacher or their friends that their mother is struggling with substance abuse and at the point now, like I'm all over the place, but there was a time where, like, obviously I knew that dad was struggling as well. And when dad was gone, that's where shit would hit the fan because now mom and dad are both not around. Like, who's taking, like, just a lot of confusion, right? So,
Mm.
our life, like my brother and I's lives, were just mom and dad not in the picture. My dad had a run-in. He did have an overdose, and we were sheltered from that for a long time. Obviously, like mom's not in the equation. Uh, Last thing that we need to hear is that dad, is in the same boat, right? So, I think like knowing that my father like was so down and out almost, was it was tough and like having to kind of just put on the tough face and take shit and not have my father around, not have my mother around in instances that I'd want them to be around, when I was going through shit myself and sorry for my language.
No, dog, I swear too. Don't worry about
Um, it creates a lot of anxiety when you don't have your parents around, both of them. Um, I think it was harder for me knowing that they were both struggling with their own battles at the same time, and there was nothing that I could do to do anything, right? It's their battles, their run-ins. And now we're getting to a point where visits with mom going down, like we're not seeing her as much. Um, Man, this is there's so much to it, but I'm just trying to summarize really. Eventually we found out, got word that mom moved to New York. She was living in Florida when we used to visit her. So she was staying at her mother's house. Everything was so and so good, but she ended up being kicked out because of the drug use, substance use and whatnot. So she moved to New York. So my dad, at this point in time, like he's all right. He's back on his feet again. And uh, so my dad's firehouse is probably like a block or two, a couple blocks away from where my mother was staying. And my mother wasn't necessarily staying in an apartment. She was in and out of homeless shelters constantly. I get like messages and calls from her saying that she lost her bed tonight or she's like sleeping in some sort of alley or like just fighting for something, trying to find rations of food. And there are a couple times where she's gotten mugged, like just all these things. And like there were times where I'd be so just angry, angry. And like now I guess we're talking, in my teens, right? Where you're starting to kind of develop that sense of like, okay, it's, you know, you're growing up. And I think my brother and I had to grow up at a lot younger of an age than a lot of people do. Um, so even as a young teen, I was thinking to myself, like, I gotta go protect my mom. I gotta go do something. Like, I can't just see her like get mugged, not have a place to eat or not a place to stay. Um, so you feel helpless because there was nothing that I could do. Um, and the last thing you want to hear is that someone's putting their hands on your mother. Like that would make me sick, you know?
Mm.
But anyway, she was there in and out of shelters. And that's when like the mental health side and I guess the drug use really started catching up with her. Um, so she then developed I guess like drug-induced schizophrenia and bipolar disorder and a boatload of things. And she was admitted into a women's facility for, you know, mental illness. And so at this time, I didn't know she was admitted there. It seemed like she was doing good, but I knew that she couldn't just be doing good by herself, by her own means. Um, and that's kind of where she had the last of her days in that facility. And I guess the last little part of this main, we could kind of like debunk other things, but I'm just bringing it home. My dad ended up retiring from the fire. By the way, my dad's doing great now. He's got himself on his feet. He's remarried with my stepmother, who's an amazing person. I have two stepsisters, half brother, half sister. It's a great family over there. And so I'm proud of him, you know, because he's seen that other side. But anyway, you know, he retired from the firehouse and he's done at this point. Now, my dad has a lot of good buddies still at the firehouse. And so they get a call one day for a wellness check at this facility. My dad knew the facility that whatever. Um, and it was unbeknownst my dad's best friend who discovered my mother in the room
Oh.
at the wellness check. And, you know, she was deceased. And it just came so full circle because my dad's good friend happened to be almost like an uncle to me. He was really in and present in our lives. So I think for how it ended with her, I was relieved to hear that she was taken care of. Um, but you know, at least like they found her, and I knew that it was someone that I could trust. But yeah, man, the drug run-ins and all the things. Like, I'm not really gonna talk much about my brother's story with it all right now, but he's going through some stuff right now in that avenue, and you know, I worry a little bit, but he's doing the good fight. Um, he'll be at Sheffield, and I'm really happy to
That's
have him
good.
my brother there. Yeah, I'm excited to see them there. But it's just a whole long story, and that's kind of the general flow of the story. It's just been nonstop. Um, you know, needless to say, in the times that I needed my parents the most, I was losing some of my best friends. In high school, I lost one of my best friends to suicide, and this was my junior year of high school. And I remember my dad wasn't, you know, really around at the time that like was that my friend was going through shit. I knew that he was going to do something, and like not have my dad there, I just,
Mm.
and after that, you know, my friends like uh, brain cancer, and it's just like there's so much like side stories to the main story. I've seen a lot of loss, and I've seen strong people down and out for the count. And so I think my whole perspective on life, like life is so fragile, man. And you know, another reason why I want to keep running with this powerlifting stuff is because you don't know, like you don't know what could happen. And I have an opportunity here, and I keep saying I have this opportunity, but it's so much deeper than that. Like I'm so happy that I found an avenue to keep me healthy and look towards something that is beneficial instead of self-destructive. Powerlifting, I
Yeah.
feel like I can be myself. I express myself. I let my anger out. When I'm happy, I'm happy. When I'm sad, I'm sad. But the weights are there. They're calling my name. I get better from each session. Like, you know, you don't get that from drugs. You don't get that from alcohol. It's, I found the path and I'm so lucky because I could have went so many other ways. And I think that's why whole powerlifting is so close to my heart because yeah, it's the sport I'm good at, but it's the sport that ultimately has kept me out of a lot of stuff.
Dude, first off, there's a lot to unpack there, but
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever heard um, the expression "the rose that grew from the concrete." There was nothing but a concrete freaking jungle. It was Tupac actually, who wrote a poem called "The Rose That Grew from Concrete." When he was young, his dad left. His mom was a crack addict, and like a horrible upbringing. And he was young in same similar situation where whatever's going on, obviously he was losing friends and a lot of bad situations as well. And you don't have anyone around you. And he was like, I need something. I need some kind of reason to keep me going. I need something right now. I am teetering. I have I just need a sign to keep going. And he said he was walking on his street and he saw through broken concrete a flower had emerged and grew. And he saw that and said, that'll do it. That'll do it. And he kept going. And he said he's always hung on to that. And like he obviously, like in a lot of ways, metaphorically speaking, was the same. He was the rose that grew from concrete. And it's the same thing. I can't imagine, Anthony, how a kid who is orphaned but not orphaned, but is your best friend at that age going through something in which you probably relate to a lot of things that he be going through. And you're both going through it together. And he conveyed to you, and you probably conveyed to him, and your sources of strength for each other. And then he did what he did and took his own life.
Yeah.
And how that likely impacted you and what you must have been thinking as a kid. And you didn't have your mom, your dad, and he was going through similar bad situations. And that's what his solution was. And how vulnerable you probably were in that moment and how scary that might have been right then and right there. And if
Yeah.
anybody was around at that point and knew, somebody better get a hold of Anthony. And there wasn't anybody. And that's freaking tough, man. That's fucking tough. You are the rose that grew from the concrete, sir. That's
Thank you.
freaking the fact that you made it through. And how much older are you than your brother?
So my brother's 21 and I'm 25, so 4 year difference. So we're now at that like gap where it's pretty close, but 4 years is like a difference. And I see that with how we ended up in our lives. His lens, my lens, almost like two different paths. But
Well, I mean, 4 years is everything when you're high school.
yeah,
When you're 14 and he's only 10, you go through everything first. You see everything. And even though 4 years later on, life isn't much, but when you're young, it'll be you're like the man of the house when you're not the man of the house. You're 15, but you're going to be looking after this 11-year-old. You will try to shield them, shelter them, but who's sheltering you? Who's looking out for you?
luckily, I mentioned grandma a little bit. Grandmother was around big time, and so she helped us out, when she could. But other than that, it was me and brother.
It's crazy, man. I can't even wrap my head around how difficult that would be. And you're talking about anxiety. It's because anxiety comes when things feel chaotic
Yeah.
and there's no control and there's no like parents when people have parents, two parents, and you're in the house by 9, you're in bed by 10, you are going to finish that blah 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 for your food, whatever. That structure is actually comforting, even though kids will push against it because it feels secure. And it means so much to have that when you're growing up. When things are just crazy and chaotic, and you don't know what tomorrow's going to bring, what the hell is going on. You have so many questions, no answers, and it feels like everything's leaving and not coming in. You're losing but never winning things and gaining. Your things are only being taken away. That is incredibly difficult. I don't know how you. I have no idea how you would have made it through that. That's crazy.
I I don't know. I don't know, but I do at the same time. I feel like I always knew that this like I was just dealt a tough card in my life, and the hope that I held on to is that if I just keep pushing through the shit, if I keep forging through this valley of unknown obstacles and scary stuff, that there'll be another side, but I have to work for it, and I can't just expect that to happen. So I knew that with every situation that would arise, especially for my younger brother, I can't be, not that I can't be weak. I can be vulnerable. I can express my feelings to him, but I have to be strong. I have to lead by example. And if my head's down, if I'm looking down, he's gonna be looking down. So I felt that I had to just act like it was like that it was okay, that it was, we were good. And even in instances where I knew that it wasn't like that we weren't gonna be good or we were gonna be affected, listen, man, we're good. We're good. Like that's it. And I guess I'm starting to see the other side, like in my 20s now, like things have just turned like upside down completely. And I'm starting to see a really nice side to the years, like over a decade plus of just being in the rough. And I think if I was equipped with the skill sets that I have now, right, it'd be a completely different story. But in order to get what I have now, the way that I could think, the way that I rationalize and think about situations, like you got to go through some rough stuff. And people, I think, like people know that I'm a good person. People think that I'm nice, and but how I became this good person and nice and maybe I don't know, whatever. Um, there's a whole valley of shit that I had to fight through, you
Yeah.
know, and it was scary as a kid. It was scary. I was scared a lot, but I was brave. There's like a saying where it's, courage isn't. I can't remember what it is, but um, being
Well,
courageous, brave, right, is not.
there is no courage without the absence of fear.
Thank you, thank you. My brain is just like fried right now,
I
but
got you.
yeah,
It
that's
makes
it.
sense though.
Yeah, that's it. I was scared shitless, but I was brave, you know, and so I think that's something that yeah, I'm proud of myself for being brave, you know.
That's probably an understatement that you were brave. That's,
Yeah,
I mean, I can't even freaking imagine, man. The thing is, you say like you went through it, but you're only 25. You can't be full way through. Things are still happening.
yeah,
The passing of your mother, everything. This is going to be, you probably are always constantly checking in on yourself, unpacking things, dealing with things. It's never going to be just the door's closed, I'm over it.
no, nope,
And maybe some acknowledgement of that also helps as well. I don't know.
yeah,
Just knowing like when you tell yourself like Tyson Fury moment, for instance, when he says, when I win the world title, I'll feel different. Everything will be different. Everything's, it's what, and he ended up setting himself up, realizing when the realization is no, it's rent is due every day when it comes to what you're dealing with. It just doesn't go away. Every life just doesn't turn like that. And then the second title run, he put it all in perspective. But um, yeah, this is probably at least you probably full well understand this is going to be. It's going to be tough. There'll be easy periods or easier periods. There will always be tough periods. Keiko came on here saying, he was very open, saying that he was had suicidal thoughts for a little while, and he said to himself, "I didn't think I was going to have to deal with this anymore." And then I thought I was past this, and the realization you don't necessarily just get past it. You grow and you learn tools on how to deal with it,
yes,
but it doesn't mean it doesn't come around. Certain things, certain feelings, certain it doesn't end. This is going to be life. But for you, for sure, the hard part of like you're a grown man now, and you could. It's a whole lot different than when you're a child going through this. But holy smokes, man, what a freaking it's a tough one. Do you now like do you do things like therapy and whatnot to talk about it? Because I would assume really
No. So I don't. I'm very blessed and fortunate in a scenario where actually some of my close friends now, one of them specifically, he's been through a very similar path, and we actually end up meeting through the sport. Um, and he's local. He lives like 5 houses away from me. It's pretty ironic. I actually coach him now and everything, but he has a very similar story, and so like knowing that like we can just talk about things, and it's not. I don't know how to describe it. Um, I personally, I don't, I went to therapy as a kid. Um, and there were like a few therapists that I just, oof, man, made it worse for
Mm,
me. But
mm.
I didn't really latch on to the whole therapy thing. I stayed away. And I'm not sure what it was, but I don't know.
Well, I mean, put it this way though, the biggest thing is talking, talking about it and finding. And sometimes I mean, I know it's cliche to say, but it's true. Like friends are the best therapy, anyways, and that's the truth. Not
Right.
everyone has that or is comfortable opening up to all their friends. That's why you go the therapy route. And it's like, okay, I'm in a room, professional, say whatever I want, and it stays here, blah blah blah. But if you got certain friends or people in your life, it works just as well or better. I could see for sure. I mean, especially if they've been through similar type of situations.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, some therapy are literally just groups of people getting together
Right.
talking about the situation, nothing more. It's just a group talk about it, similar things, and just that alone is huge. But
Yeah.
how crazy is it though that you went for being a teacher and you just ended up working with kids who are coming from troubled backgrounds and behavior issues? Like, how crazy is that?
You when you say it like I haven't even thought about it like that. Honestly, Ryan, I have not thought about it like that. That is it's interesting and it's crazy because like I guess I was just blinded by the fact that oh like teaching gig and that's it. But I haven't even thought about it to myself like how did I naturally end up here? Um, it was a path. I feel like it was just laid out. Like I had to. Like I told you, I have to be here right now. I have to be there for the students, and I think that it's interesting because they definitely get a presence with me. I feel like they understand that I'm open arms with them. A lot of them feel gravitated to talk to me. So if I have to talk to them one-on-one about something that happened in school, they don't, it's not like they feel comfortable. And I think it doesn't come from just like my actual teaching abilities. I think it comes from just me as a person and the vibe that I had because I know how it feels to be angry and scared and frustrated and lost, you know?
Mm,
It's like a presence that comes from that. I feel like, if you've been through it, you could tell that someone's been through it.
really? Is that right?
I have a good radar on people that have been through it, and I feel like people that have been through some stuff can notice when other people have. I mean, maybe that's just a me thing, but I don't know.
I I I bet you it's easier at the very least because you'll notice things they're doing and you'll be like, I know what you're doing there. You know,
Yeah,
if they the way they answer certain questions about their past or whatever, and you're like, I know what
yeah,
you're doing there.
I've
I
had
do
those.
that too.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's probably just as simple as that. And then you're like, maybe it's nothing, but it could be. It
right,
could be. And you could answer, with a couple follow-up questions. Depending on how they answer this follow-up question, I bet you I could sniff it out pretty quick. You
right.
know, and it's you had mentioned how even though it's not your fault, and this is what Taylor talked about, shame attached to a childhood or background that you had nothing. You didn't deserve that. You didn't do anything to deserve it. It didn't happen to you because you did something. And Taylor talked about how as a kid feeling shame and not wanting to mention and talk about it, and even as an adult, he didn't want to say it. He didn't do anything, nothing wrong, but the shame attached to it, and he didn't. You not don't even know why. Like why? Why? There's no shame in this. This happened to me, And you saying, dude, it was heartbreaking hearing you say I was making up stories and lying to my teacher about why my dad's not coming or why my mom's not here. And then an adult looking at a kid, I can only imagine an adult looking at this kid saying a lie, and you know damn well that teacher's like, I know this kid's lying, stumbling over his words, trying to come up with some story why his parents aren't coming.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that would be fucking heartbreaking, man. If you're
Yeah.
that teacher, you're like, what do I do? That and that teacher's probably ill equipped to handle that. They're just
Yeah.
like, I don't know, what am I supposed to do?
Right. And
That would be
yeah, as a kid, I even kind of knew that. I almost knew that I've opened up to one or two teachers, and not even the whole gist, just a little bit, and just seeing the reactions, like I knew it was probably best to shield them from it because not a, now they have a headache and not really that, but like now they're worried and they don't know how to handle it because I feel like if they don't have similar experiences, it's very hard to navigate that and to it's tough. Like they're not equipped to do that. So a lot of what I would like think about is, do I want to tell this teacher and give him a headache or like make him upset? No, I don't want to do that. Like I don't want him to feel bad for me. I don't want him to like give me that eye of, oh, I feel so sorry for you. I didn't want that. Um, but I also was just embarrassed. I truly was. And not of my family, just of the situations that were going on with my mother and father. It was tough. Like they knew that there was something clearly wrong, but you want to tell them, but you can't. You know it's better to just be like, and bite your tongue.
you as a kid thinking I don't want to burden this adult with my problems is first off like the, you as a kid thinking I can deal with this. I'm not sure you can. Is that's how bad it is when you think if I tell this adult I don't think they want to carry this burden because you're not going to be able to help me and you think you're going to walk around with this now.
Yeah.
And you as a kid saying I couldn't even tell you what my real story is because it'll rattle you and you're an adult. So I'm going to help you out by
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
is crazy that you even were thinking that. And in terms of embarrassment, shame, is it did that carry with you as an adult? Because you just recently started talking about this, and does talking about this open that up like, hey, fuck it, now you know me.
Yeah.
Now you know everything, huh?
I
There's
feel
nothing anyone could say now.
no. I feel this podcast in particular has been the one where I just like I can kind of like sit back and be like, it's out. It feels really, really good. Like I don't have to hide it. And I know it's kind of cliche. People like, but it really like I can't even describe the feeling that I have right now because I know people are gonna listen to this. And even people that know me, even honestly, my coach John, who I'm pretty good friends with, I don't know if he knows the whole gist. So I think he'll even be a little shocked when he hears this. It just feels so good. It
Mm.
feels good. Um, yeah, I can't describe how I feel. This podcast is definitely like I needed this to happen.
Is it really just right now that people that you're this is the first time actually that you're actually coming out in any way like saying, this is my story. This is the first one right now. It's happening.
Yeah, I only scratched the surface with any other conversations that I really had. This is probably my first real like breakthrough. Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Ryan, I knew like because I remember you and I had a conversation in Germany, and we were like we have like there's some stuff that we could talk about, and when you told me that, I was like, next time we hop on, I think it's gonna be the time, and so like mentally, I was looking forward to that, and here it is.
Hmm. Well, I mean, you could tell in Germany you weren't ready yet. You just won the world championship, and it is what it is, right? You weren't ready yet to go into it, but you could tell there was some stuff there, and um, I can't imagine, yeah, walking around with this and never having just put it out there and being like, and here's the thing: the more you walk around with it and don't say it, the more you're carrying it. It is
Yeah,
like, and it'll feel like shame or embarrassment if until you say it and you say like, here it is. Now you know. Now everybody knows. Let it be known. I don't
right.
want to carry this. This happened to me. It's not who I am. It happened to me.
Yeah,
I'm still the guy you knew before, but now you know what happened before. And the amount of people who are going to draw strength from this, it's freaking and be like it helps, and it helps other people who are going through some shit, who aren't telling people, who
right.
aren't talking about it. And I don't got to tell you, because you lost a friend who was had a parallel life, and it was mirroring some such scary situations, and you guys are way too young to be dealing with the shit you're dealing with, and it was paralleling, and your friend went the other route, and he's not here to tell his story. And there are people all over the world, juniors and sub junior lifters, who listen to these podcasts and will hear a guy like you. And you don't know who's like, fuck, I need something. I need someone. It's scary and nobody's coming to help.
Right.
And for a guy like you to be like, hang in there, because every now and then a flower grows through that concrete. Just hang in there. You, it's important, man. It's tough though.
Yeah, it is tough. It is tough. Tough is like it's gonna be it's life changing. It really is. Everything that I see, everything that I do, everything that I comprehend is so much different because of the experiences that I lived through. And I know a lot of people have that
Mm,
same experience. Their whole vision changes of and perspective changes. But when you're able to meet your adversity head first and be open and true to yourself. Like okay, this conversation right here, like being this open was another obstacle of mine that I had to get through in order to feel more at peace with the past life. Like it wasn't necessarily if I didn't go powerlifting route, maybe it wasn't talking on a podcast, but it was letting people know the truth in some capacity. And this was like a huge step for me. Just today, this conversation is another huge step into accepting, what has happened and recollecting. So I think that if you're
mm,
listening to this podcast, you don't have to get on a podcast to talk about your feelings and emotions. I think you just need to talk and don't be afraid to talk and don't be afraid to share because you're not going through it alone. You're not. There's
mm.
so many people. And you know, like I'm not probably on Joey B's situation, but Joey B, like I wouldn't expect that. Like everyone's going through something. So we all got to stick together. That's it.
Well, this is exactly it. You don't necessarily assume when you see people like they hop on podcasts and they're funny and they seem like you just almost project onto them normal life, whatever normal is. You just assume these things, and you don't necessarily know. No, they it's not. And I think the more people talk about it, the more people will be a little like, if people who are going through these tough scenarios, yeah, for sure, it makes it easier to know this is more and more common. And for some reason, there is stigmas about embarrassment and shame. And when you break that, when you're strong enough to raise your hand and say, no, I have nothing to be embarrassed about. There's no shame attached to this. Here it is. Then other people won't as well, and they can start talking about. That's the other piece. Those people who are in danger are not talking because of shame and embarrassment attached. And if you don't say something, they continue. But when you hop on something, a platform like this, and you raise your hand and say, "I'm not ashamed and I'm not embarrassed. This happened," then they feel strength from it, and
Yes.
they go, fuck that. If that happened to Anthony, if he went through that, like it's not embarrassing. Taylor, whatever. Joe B hasn't told his story, but whatever. This if they're in company like you guys with you guys, it's easier to
Yes.
be like, okay, I could talk to my friend, I could talk to that teacher who's open. Now I can. Fuck it. More people. Some people I look up to have gone through this. I can talk. I could do it. But if nobody says anything and that person thinks like this is a me thing, no one will understand.
Yeah.
Nobody, it is a whole lot scarier, more isolated. And that's one of that is for sure the gift that we got right now with like social media and these type of platforms, podcasts, etc. And someone like you who comes around And not only are you physically strong, but obviously more strong than we ever could have imagined. And you could say, here it is. Here it is. Let me throw this out there. And so, dude, it's important. Is there? And I know this is just starting to happen now. You just won the world title. You're going to Sheffield now. You're opening up, telling your story to everybody. And it just so happened you're working with youth that are have behavioral issues and come from probably all types of different backgrounds, and just not even necessarily by your own design you were looking for it, but this is where you ended up, which is remarkable, by the way. Um, what do you think moving forward in terms of I've just you just first got your story out literally right now, so maybe it's a little early, but in terms of talking to youth, talking to even adults, telling your story, period. Um, I don't know. There's a lot of possibilities here, isn't
There's tons. And I gotta find a way. I want my voice to be heard. I want to talk to people. I don't know. This is like it's putting so many ideas in my head, but it's more than just powerlifting. It's more than just being strong. It's I want to help. So I'm thinking of certain ways, and I'm not too sure what, but of getting myself around and talking. And I don't know if I'll start my school and start t talking to my school first, but wherever it may be, I know that I definitely belong in an atmosphere to speak to people and share my story, but also help them with theirs. So
it, dude? I'm telling you, it's literally as easy as um, you contact. I don't know if I told like I'm not going to go into all my whole background story, but for a while there, I was visiting public schools, kids' schools, doing speeches and whatnot. It is literally as quick as you shoot an email to a principal and say, "This is who I am. You're the world champion, one of the strongest men in the world." So immediate impact when you show up, everyone will be like, "That's him. That's got to be him." As soon as you walk into the building, and whether it's teens in high school or whether it's younger kids, as soon as they see you, they'll start talking. You show up, but anyways, the email says, "This is who I am, what I do. Here's my background story," and just showing up and talking for a half hour. You splice in from clips to you winning titles and shifting weights for a little introduction video like Chevalo did into your background and who you are. And just saying your story and giving the details and laying it out and just say, "I'm here to tell you if there's kids in this room, and there could be 1,000 kids in that auditorium listening. I'm here to tell you if there's kids in this room. No, as a matter of fact, not if. I'm here to tell you there are kids like this who share that story in this room." How does that sound? How's that actually more pointed? I'm telling you right now, there are, and they're listening, and they might be afraid to say it. I'm here to tell you if you look to your left, you look to your right, you might be sitting beside one of those kids, and you don't know it, and they're not going to say nothing to you. But it gets better. Hang in there, it gets better. And you just doing that, my friend. And those kids are going to leave, and yes, you will impact, especially when you talk about addiction, mental health. Some of these kids who are will get scared straight who are thinking about going into a certain pathway of drugs, or some kids who are impacted through other avenues, people in their life are addicted. Um, you don't even you will, yes, you will make an impact. It is literally just an email. Here's who I am. I'd like to come into your school, and you just attach this podcast and say,
yeah,
here's hop. You can listen to the podcast. Blah blah blah. It's that easy, Anthony. You could start doing this literally real quick,
yeah,
and showing up at different group homes, etc. And when you after your story gets out, you said certain people know you could get a vibe with how they act, how they carry themselves, how they answer certain questions, etc. If they might have been through something. Even more strong than that is when your story becomes commonly out there and known. When you show up, if you pull a kid aside to talk to them, it's going to be entirely different, huh?
yeah.
If that kid comes from a troubled background, and you pull, if I pull him aside, it's one thing. If you pull him aside, that's Anthony McNaughton. He knows.
Right.
You don't got to say much, kid. He already knows without you having to say it. That's the power of it. He could
Yes.
tell you his whole story and tell you how he feels, or you could say, you don't gotta tell me everything, kid. I know. Just it's different. It'll hit different. It matters, man. It
Yeah,
matters. But it starts with you getting your story up front. So as soon as you walk in the room, those kids know. They know what they're dealing with. So when you pull a kid aside, it's entirely a whole nother ballgame.
absolutely. Absolutely. And that's a great idea. And I'm definitely going to pursue it.
Oh, you get too, man. I mean, you could start at the high school you graduated from, which is always the world champ returns home. They love it. I remember like Lennox Lewis, he won a gold medal for Canada, and he's from Kitchener, like the city over from Guelph where I grew up. And he came back to his old high school. Like everyone, you'll always be brought back to your high school when they say, "Do you know an alumni is a world champion, and he's got a remarkable story, and he'd like to share it with the kids." It's going to be, yeah, yeah. The answer is yes. Um, Local news comes down and they run with the story and it's off to the races, man. And
Yeah.
all you're doing is just sharing your story. And it's that easy.
Yes.
Now, as I say easy, it's hard though. It's hard walking in front of people talking. It's difficult. Here's advice though. Don't cover nothing up. I will never forget when like the toughest man I've ever met, George Chavala, was shaking, lip shaking, and he kept hanging on to that bundle of Kleenex in his hands nervously. And you could tell he's nervous. He's scared, and he's still doing it anyways. It's that's how important it is to him. And he's out of his comfort zone and he's doing it. And I drew strength from that alone, let
Yes.
alone just seeing he's scared and he's standing in front of us, vulnerable. And here we are. You know, and yeah, dog, I'm telling you, these kids aren't gonna forget it because I was a '90s Playboy, and I still remember it.
Right.
Yeah, no, man, it's I first off, thank you for coming on and sharing your story
Absolutely.
and talking about it. And I guarantee you, people are gonna draw from this. And it's I would be shocked if you're. I mean, it depends. You're gonna meet thousands of people at Sheffield in a month's time.
Yeah.
You're going to meet thousands of people. After this goes out, you are guaranteed you're going to run into people who have similar stories that needed that, and they may or may not say anything to you. They
Right.
might not. Let me tell you right now. I was at a competition, and a gentleman pulled me aside and said, "You don't know this, but you saved my life." And he said, Leah Bavois came on the podcast and was talking about how um, when she was growing up, she was autistic but didn't know it. There's a spectrum, and it could be severe to mild to the symptoms aren't very easy. All she knew is she was different,
Right.
and her family knew she was different but didn't know why. And when you don't know why, sometimes even those loved ones might think like, "Are you just being difficult? Why are you like this?" Uh, so she was very open about suicidal thoughts, isolation, and not knowing. And then when she found out what it was no, I'm not. I'm different, but I'm not difficult. I'm not. There's like any outbursts or whatever. It's I'm autistic. This is as soon as she knew what it was, she had control again, and then people knew what it was, and then okay, and then since then this is 2019. Leah Babel was telling me this on the podcast. Since then, became world champion, etc. And it's Leah Babel, right? She's a freaking superstar in powerlifting. A guy told me, Ryan, I literally heard your podcast and how she was describing her symptoms in childhood, and in that podcast, realized I think I'm autistic. Got diagnosed, and he said everything she was describing, including suicidal thoughts, is what I was experiencing. And when I was on the verge, I was fucking driving and I put that podcast
Wow.
on. It's crazy, man. Crazy.
Oh my gosh.
That's wild.
Incredible.
But yeah, no. So we'll see. When you're at Sheffield, not everyone's gonna say everything because it'll be like a meet and greet for God's sake. But I
Right.
guarantee you there's gonna be people. Um but anyways, But talking about Sheffield, actually,
Yeah.
you know what? Let's get into Sheffield. Let's do a 2 minute pee break.
Okay.
How's that sound?
Sounds good.
Okay. Sheffield. Kind of sort of a big meet coming up, isn't there, sir?
Just a little bit. Just a little bit
Kind
of
of
it.
sort of. Kind of sort of. First off, so how was prep going? I seen you smashing some weights, hitting some huge squats, and you were all super hype. Smoked the camera afterwards. So you're looking primed. Um, is this if you were gauging this, are you stronger than ever before, even better than the prep for worlds, or where would you rank this?
I'd say that I'm at my strongest right now for sure. I definitely would say that. Yeah, I feel real good. I think knowing that everyone else is coming with some crazy smoke too is just make me push so much
Mm,
harder. So, you know, like we're not going to deny it. Perk looks insane right now.
yeah.
Obviously we'll probably talk about those things, but seeing those guys push, I'm just like on a different level right now.
Quick question off the hop. Then you mentioned Perk. He wants 900. Does he get it at Sheffield? You think?
I think he does.
Well, he just did 897 in the gym. Now I know it's in the gym. He hasn't traveled. Blah blah blah. But he did 897. I mean, I gotta think with the hype and whatnot, I think it's going to be there for him.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely do. Like I think he's got that.
Now, how about for you? Do we cross 1,000 kilos at
We have
Sheffield?
we have to.
Yeah.
There's no other option. Like it's just gotta go.
Pull, pull that band-aid off, break the ice. Hey, how you doing? My name's Anthony McNaughton, and get that 1,000 kilos out of here. Let's get it going already. Because Keenan Lee is also,
Yeah.
um, he's mentioned 1,000 kilos previously. Have you been keeping an eye on him? What are you thinking about Keenan?
I think Keenan's probably at his strongest right now. I definitely think he is. And I know that I want to see him and I both push that barrier. I know he's got it in him as well. So I'd love to see two people cross over that line.
Oh, yeah, that'd be huge
It'd be
for the
nuts.
105s. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you both cross 1,000 kilos in the same day, Perk does nine. Because there's no way you could stay in the nines if Perk is in the nines. You gotta be like, okay, I'm adios. I'm out of here. If
Yeah.
there's a 74 in the 900s, I'm out of the 900s. That's how that works.
Yeah.
Right? You need
Yeah.
a good, healthy spread just to keep them humble enough.
Right.
And you got Gavin saying he expects the 93s to be at 1,000 kilos.
I mean, like, I love it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't been keeping tabs in the 93s as much, but that'd be awesome.
Well, I mean, it's going to take a little time. First off, they're at 920.
Yeah.
And Gavin, you know Gavin, he shoots from the hip, and God bless him. I love the kid. But yeah, everyone else is like, 10 times body weight or whatever. And Gavin's like, let me talk. I'm shooting for 1,000 kilos. How does that sound? But, but I think like eventually these things will happen. So have you been keeping tabs at all with other people training for Sheffield?
Yes. I've been looking at Joey B as well. He looks strong.
Mm,
Yeah, I've been keeping tabs. Keen doesn't post much like me, so um Emil, same thing, not really. Emil Norling, I should emphasize. Haven't really seen much with him. But I feel like not a lot of people are posting as much. Maybe I'm just like not seeing them, but um yeah, I mean, I'm definitely one of those people that's not posting that much, so I
it
can't
I
really.
could tell you as a guy who reposts and likes to feature the lifters that are particularly for Sheffield. I like there are some people doing it, but not. I mean, obviously you posted that one, the squat session you had, and Perk is there's here and there. Joe B is, but um, I don't fully see everything going on, or they're just not posting everything anyways. It's a little bit cards close to the chest. Turbo Tiff has been competing a lot and going off and like doing like there is some, but I don't fully know. Now, by the time we do the preview show, we're gonna do a deep dive scouting, me and the other like KOTL hosts, and we do like a Google Doc and share all of our scouting so we all see it. Like, oh, this guy just posted this girl just posted that, and we all check it out and give and in the shareable Google Doc, we're giving our notes and whatnot. So we'll do a very deep forensic. It's still relatively early, and then the last month is really when people start peaking and start smashing some real stuff anyways. Anything
Right.
before that might be too far out. It's inside that last month, you're like, where are you now? Are you still healthy? Are you still, let's see where you're at. Too far out, man. Some people before have gotten me excited, and then something unravels, and you're like, like, what the heck? So it's difficult to tell. But why do you keep your some of your lifts to yourself on purpose for strategy reasons or mentally? Because some people have been saying, I don't, if I put it all out there, it puts certain expectations around certain numbers. I don't mind people having expectations, but around specific numbers gets too specific for me. And even that they don't like. So they're like, you know what? I'll give enough to get people hyped. You see a big double, I'm going crazy afterwards, but I don't need you to see all my singles so that, I don't know. What's your
Right.
reasoning?
I think it has to do in line with that. I don't like being placed into a barrier, whether that's even a top end that I might think is not there, or if it's something that's below my goals. So I like to create my own goal space. And I feel like keeping most of my training to myself helps me keep that goal space where I want it to be. And I'll let people shoot their shot wherever they want. Oh, he's going to total this and that. That's fine. You'll never prevent that with fans. But
Right.
I feel like when I start posting my training and showing my cards, it's not. I confine myself, and I don't want to be confined. I just want to show up on the day and just do what I do. And I think
Mm,
everybody knows what I have to do in order to be where I want to be. Um, so there's really like no secret here. 1,000 kilo, like it's just however you get the formula. I mean, we're hitting 1,000. We have to. So
mm. And yeah, I guess that's true, right? We
right.
we we both know. Do you anticipate though? Because if both you and Keenan are shooting for 1,000, it's gonna. If he's 100%, do you
Yeah,
think this is neck and neck race where you're literally running side by side and it's oh my gosh right up to there? Like, are you anticipating a battle like that?
I'm anticipating it. I definitely am. I feel like I said this the last two times. Like you never know. I feel like Keenan right now is so locked in. I just I can't put a thumb onto what it is, but he is definitely locked in. And I know that he can give me a nice run. So yeah, like I expect it. I expect the smoke. I want the smoke. I want it to be like that. We're gonna make it more exciting that way. And I think, you know, even with my goals in mind. I think him and I both pushing that goal and having a neck-to-neck battle is going to make it's better for the class. It's better
Mm.
for all of us that are involved. The 105s, we got to build that name up a little bit. So I think a battle would be a great thing.
It's easy for some people to underestimate Keenan if they don't take into account like he was injured. And when he
Right.
was talking 1,000 kilos, I know he's talking about it previously on the KOTL podcast actually, and he fell short of 1,000, but people don't realizing he was injured and he wasn't 100%. And I
Right.
know like you're not going to take him lightly, but some people who are sports fans might not know that, be taking it a little too lightly and not realize no, this is a battle. This
Yeah.
can be this can be a toe to toe. Both these guys might cross 1,000 kilos. Both
Yeah.
these guys might be at the top end. It can be that. It 100% can be that. And to an extent, Keenan being, and this is, I don't know where Keenan is at in terms of health wise, but I know he's far more healthy than he was.
Yeah.
And um, the previous performances, still good enough to go to Worlds, take a silver medal at Worlds, be high enough amongst the silver medalists to make it all the way to Sheffield. Like he's tip of the spear 1%. And people underestimating will just alleviate pressure on
Yes.
Keenan. So he gets to show up and he gets to be like, yeah, let Anthony be in the Road to Sheffield videos. Let Anthony deal with, all the hype. He's the world champ. He's the American champ, the world champ. I just get to walk in and people can count me out. So that's to an extent, is it, this is kind of relatively new for you this year after what you've done. Do you feel it differently? Or are you kind of like, Frank, I got a little bit of pressure on me now?
No, I
Really?
don't.
Okay, okay.
No, no. I feel like I'm very good at tuning out the media. It's like I don't let it distract me. Even when I'm projected to win, even when I'm projected to do great things, I don't count that for anything. I've been an athlete my whole life, and obviously, like I don't know if we talk about it, but I wrestled for over a decade. So it's like in an individual sport where the light is on you, you could have all the preparation you want. You could have the best preparation of your life. You get out on the mat or you get out on the platform. It could be a completely different story that's written. So I always keep my wits and I keep my guard high because the second I let that down and get complacent, that's where the problems arise. So I keep myself level-headed and I don't let things and certain, whether that's media or medals, I don't let that get to my head. It's like I'm here to do one thing and that's to show up. So as far as I'm treating it, it's the same thing as when I show up to nationals in April. Like I am the underdog. I am not like, you know what I'm saying? I keep
Mhm.
that mentality. I stay hungry. It's the consistent loophole formula. If you have that underdog mentality, you know? So that's
Yeah.
I still feel the underdog, even though obviously statistically I'm probably not. It's just I want I want to keep myself in that mindset.
What are your goals overall for placement? Do you have like, do you want podium? Do you want like, have you thought about this, crunch numbers and thought? Because some people have even though they'll do phenomenal things, if
Yeah.
the weight class they're in, the world record's high, it is what it is. Like they could do absolutely phenomenal. The GL points will be ridiculous. They're pound for pound doing amazing. But if the world record is already reasonably high, it's going to be a tough one for you.
Of
But for
course.
yourself, you have the ability here. You can crunch the numbers and be like, okay, given where my weight class world record is, and you took it for a ride, you took it for a ride. And I'm with that, by the way. You don't know if the sun's going to shine. People like, oh, I'll hold on to a little bit for Sheffield. Well, Sheffield may never come, or when it does come, you could be injured. And
Yeah.
that day at that World Championships was the only time you're going to take it for a ride like that. Like Taylor Atwood talks about that, but he's like, yeah, I saving for Sheffield. When Sheffield rolled around, I was heavily injured, and it did not matter. So,
Right.
a tell me about where you expect like what kind of goals you have for ranking wise looking at the world record and where you think you could take it, and b your thoughts on saving kilos from a world championship to Sheffield and your decision with that.
Yeah. So I guess we'll start from saving the kilos. I think that at Worlds I had more, for sure. But I also do feel that the strategy behind that was to get the job done. And obviously we knew that we'd have to break the world record in order to keep it in a untouchable spot. But also I knew that I could break the world record and also not show all my cards. I feel like after the squad is where things started to change. So it was like, okay, we punched the squad in, but that zapped me a little bit. So we don't really necessarily need to push hard on the bench and deadlift. We just have to stay on pace. So that's what we did. But the biggest grand scheme thing is, yeah, on the deadlift, I probably had, 370 plus. But coming back and training again for me, sometimes it's hard when I expel all my cards. And obviously, the Nationals to Worlds Gauntlet, the first time that I was in that, my body was zapped already. Like I was strong, yeah, but I was zapped. I was still carrying a lot of fatigue from the prep prior. So we kind of just decided to play it safe, not really expel everything. And that led to a more consistent get back into my training. And I didn't really see I didn't see the downside to the recovery after the meet. I actually was
Mm,
just go right back into training. My training picked up probably in about a block's worth of time, where usually in the past, if I dumped like a crazy total, it might be 2 blocks. So we half that time down, we got more efficient training in, and now is the time to do it, right? Sheffield. Um, yeah. In terms of placement, my goal is to place on the podium. In terms of percentages and whatnot, I know that John has been calculating most likely alongside Susie Gary, who's going to also help out on the day. I haven't really been thinking much about the percentages myself. And I know it's silly. A lot of people might just be like, why is this guy not considering and putting things in his head? But me, I feel that the further I can stay away from that and just focus on getting the most out of my training, the better that it'll, manifest in the day for me. Um, more so care about the 1,000 kilo barrier being shattered, honestly. Um, and I know that I'll have more than 1,000 kilos if I show up right on the day. Like, I know that that's not going to be my ultimatum for Sheffield if I show up in a good basis. Um, But that's really about it. I'm sorry I don't have more of a plan, but my plan is just to show up and to absolutely ball out. Um, and
I mean,
yeah, yeah,
listen, podium's good enough. The
yeah,
exact percentages, whatever. The podium at Sheffield is wild. Everybody goes all out when it comes to Sheffield. 1,000 kilos is huge as well. Um, did you see Bobb Matthews' SPD Austin performance?
yeah.
Okay. What were your thoughts on that?
I I thought that I could probably beat them or get close to that total. Um, but it also was like if I feel like Bob right now is in that period of where he's like he's preparing for something big to just pop off. Um, I think I was surprised by the squat being only 370. Um, yeah. Bench, I'm not sure. I watched the performance. I feel like he had like there I was surprised that there wasn't more, but I also want to beat that total. I put a
That was
goal.
going to be my follow up question, sir. Is how realistic is it that you out? Because remember, you beat that total in 2025, anyways. That 10-10 was what Rondell did. Bob did 10-10.5. You
Right.
come into Sheffield. If you say, fellas, with all due respect, I seen you guys 2025 performances. Now it's my turn. And if you beat 10-10.5, like 1,000 kilos is huge. 10-10.5, like we're talking, it's a fraction more. It's already 1,000 kilos. 11 kilos more than on 1,000 is nothing. It's literally nothing.
Right.
If you beat that, holy smokes, my friend.
Yeah.
What that might mean for pound. When everyone talks pound for pound, if you're like, yeah, well, the difference between 105 and 120 is huge. That's a 15-kilo jump. If
Right.
you out total the 120s of 2025, huge statement at Sheffield.
Yeah.
Like to your point about on the podium, that's great. You make it on the podium, fantastic, absolutely fantastic. You break the 1,000-kilo barrier, fantastic. You collect a bundle of money, excellent. And then on top of that, you clap the 120s yet again.
Yeah. I like
It's a
that.
huge statement, isn't it?
Yeah. I like that.
It's an absolutely huge statement. Everybody will go nuts about it. And so, how reasonable is that for Sheffield?
I think it's in reach. I do. I'd say to be quite honest with you, I've already totaled a little over 1,000 kilos in my training. So it's really just about replicating on the day. And I'm not going to speak too much of it because I'm not going to bite myself in the ass, but it's definitely there if all cards are right. If I show up and I'm just like, it's there. I can do
Yeah.
it.
Do you cut a lot of weight?
No, the good thing is that I have my nutritionist, famish coach. He's kind of on it. The way we're doing this is very interesting. We're kind of playing with our body weight. I won't even speak about the strats because I don't even really know myself. I'm just following the plan. He knows what he's doing. So
Fair.
yeah,
But it's not a lot that you cut though to make 105. It's relatively okay.
yeah, we get close in time, and it's usually just a quick gut cut at that point. But again, this strategy might be a little different. I'm not sure what his plan is for this time around. I know it's a little different than times past. So yeah, I guess I'll find out. But I definitely know that I'll be well cooked on the day. You know.
Good. Um, and there's been discussion as well. And let me get your impression if you're game for this. If let's say SBD, because right now we're looking for there's money meets everywhere, and multiple different money meets coming up where Avantis, SPD, Silent Worker. There's more out there, and so this has created some competitiveness amongst meet directors. So you got to stay fresh. You got to have good ideas. You need a good roster. And the idea was kicking around by guests on here. I forget who did. Maybe it was me. I don't know. I'll take credit though. About a catch weight of 110 and grabbing all the 105s and grabbing Bobby Knuckles. And you guys all clash head to head in a mega battle because money meets need to bring you the competitions worlds can't.
Yeah.
And one of the competitions the world championships can't is a catch weight of 110. No good lift points, No, not based off records or formulas. Straight kilo battle. We grab you. We grab Keenan. We grab Ashton.
Oh,
We grab Bob.
yes.
All of them. All of them.
Yes.
Whatever 105s. Whatever 105s want to rumble. Or small 120s. Because there are some small 120s.
Yes,
Cut
there.
down to 110. Cut down to 110. You got notice right now. Come on down and rumble. What do you think about that?
I love that idea. That would be insane. That would literally be a perfect mix. And I think that battle is what all of us would love. Every single
Mm.
one of the people you just mentioned. I think all of us collectively would agree to that. Obviously, like, some of us have things going on, but if there was a point in time where everyone just had that availability to take that meet, I know everybody would that you mentioned. I know Ashton for sure.
I mean, there's
Ashton,
no question.
yeah,
The only caveat, the only tough part about 2026 is that there's Sheffield in the beginning, then US Nats, then Worlds, then Sheffield again.
yeah, it's a
So
lot.
this year, yeah, and then Europeans for any Europeans. So this year in particular would be tough. So I don't know, but Frank, man, I'm telling you, if somebody makes this happen, particularly in 2027 and whatnot, if they start doing these kind of things, like what are the matchups that nationals can't give you, worlds can't give you, Sheffield can't give you? Well, for starters, catchweights. And some catchweights beg these showdowns, like you versus Bob versus Ashton versus Keenan head up.
Right.
People would die for that.
Yes.
No, right? And another one obviously would be if you do like the 83s or 93s of the world, meaning you could grab 5 93s from US versus 5 93s from the rest of the world. Everyone go, because that world championships only one goes forward. And
Right.
that way and you could do the same with the 83s. So mega meets, money meets that all these corporations are putting on could start giving us showdowns that nationals can't, that worlds can't, because you have to strip people away from US. That, we could start seeing these showdowns. I wonder what would happen if
Right.
it one of these money meet companies can raise their hand and be like, yeah, I'll give you the answer to that question. Huge
Please.
views, huge views, huge views. Don't redo nationals. Don't redo worlds. Give us the showdowns we can't see otherwise. Why not? Right?
Right. 100%.
Yeah. Yeah.
100%. I love that.
We'll see. We'll see. The only problem is, again, pretty tough year. Pretty tough year next year. The schedule
Yeah.
is going to be nuts. Are you planning on doing U.S. nationals if you like as well as Sheffield?
I think that's the plan right now. Yeah.
Okay. Well, first off, hats off to you. I love when somebody's like, I'm going to do both. Um, and you could stack the deck because if you get a mega total at Sheffield and then you show up at US Nats, I'm not sure how it works. Do they take, and you might not know yet right now either, but do they take the biggest total of the two if you decide to go to US Nats?
That's what I was wondering because if that was the case, then I would just use Nats as like a training session, but I don't know if that's the case.
Mm.
I'm not too
'Cause,
sure.
from your opinion, would you get, if that was the case, if they say, we'll take the biggest total of the two if you go to two, both,
Oh
do you
yeah.
think more people would do nationals?
I think that would definitely, yeah, absolutely. Because if someone puts up a bigger total at Sheffield, they don't feel that pressure to go crazy at Nats, but in case they might have to, or if they want to use it as yeah, I definitely think that would increase the signups for nationals 100% because it would take away my problem completely as well. I'm sure plenty of other people have that same scenario going on in their head. So
I 100%. Because if you go absolutely off at Sheffield and hit what you want to hit, and you're like, okay, the turnaround to Nats is a little quick. I have to, like, if I compete again, as soon as I step foot on that platform, if Sheffield's total now goes away and we're acting like we're writing anew. So now it comes down to what happens at Nats. Why would I do that when I did phenomenal at Sheffield? Why would I even risk that? Anything can happen. Something pops on one of my squats, like Keenan, like it happened to Keenan, where he felt a pop in his abductor. But anything happens, and now you just shot yourself in the foot for worlds. Why? As soon as you're done Sheffield, you're like, okay, I did a phenomenal job. I'm sticking. because that's guaranteed. As soon as I step forth on the platform, nothing's guaranteed all over again. One bad call away from losing it all. So why would you? You'd be crazy to do
Right.
that. Unless they said, don't worry, Anthony, Sheffield is done. That total is there. Come. And now it's just, if you do better, perfect. Perfect. If you do worse, didn't have a great day, oh well, you still got Sheffield. So
Yeah,
100%.
absolutely. That would take away so much. I hope that that's the case. Um, but if not, they got to make that the case.
If it isn't, they're literally talking people out of coming out to USA.
Yeah.
It's like,
It's like
why
it's
would I do
silly.
this?
Right,
Yeah,
right. It's
it's
silly.
too risky.
Yeah,
Unless something went sideways on you at Sheffield, and you're like, oh, I'm not comfortable with leaving it there. I think I better come and fight because I might have to.
right.
Fine. But if you have a phenomenal Sheffield, you don't risk. Like
Yes.
you we've seen people show up like you could have a good day, but not a great day, and all of a sudden you're worse off for it. You just dropped your qualifying total by even 10 kilos is still 10 kilos. It could be vulnerable. If Keenan's 1,000 kilos, you do 1,010 ish. And then as soon as you go to work, like nationals, let's say it comes down to 1,000 kilos, he takes you on body weight, and you're like, fuck, why did I
Yeah,
do
then you're
that?
screwed. Right. So that's why like I'm under the impression that I'm going to nationals. But again, if things are different, then maybe I won't. But
We'll see if Mike Z and Robert are there at Sheffield. We'll corner them and get some answers out of them.
sounds
Hey
good.
guys, hey guys, I don't give it to me straight. And if you haven't thought about this, I would open it up because a lot of Sheffield people will show. They'll show
Yeah.
up at nationals. And hats off to you too, though, for planning on doing both, anyways. Unless you get told, rules wise, things switch up on you. Because like Gavin said on the Christmas special, he's like, people want to see people compete. People want to see lifters compete. People want to see lifters show up at these meets. And you don't
Right.
want nationals to lose its significance. After 2026, it's going to be not in conflict anymore, anyways, due to the rescheduling. But yeah, I would love to see you back at nationals, anyways.
Yes.
Run it back once again.
Absolutely.
Um, what else are you what else are you hyped up for nationals? Are you gonna be watching it at all as a fan, or are you locked in like, man, I'm not even gonna be paying attention? Like you could watch it after the fact or ask about it, but when you were competing at Sheffield, you plan on just being locked in and your house could be on fire. That's fine. Tell me about it later.
Yeah.
I got a squat.
That was a firefighter. We're good. Oh, actually, he'll be
Oh,
there.
that's true. Yeah.
It doesn't work
Yeah.
though. But yeah, no, I'm gonna be absolutely locked in. Just yeah. I feel like when I get there, it's just until I compete, there won't be like, of course I'll be chilling and relaxing, but my brain will just always like it'll just stay on the prize. So I'm kind of a little, I don't know. After I compete and hit my last deadlift and all is said and done, then I'll kind of just chill out, you know. But when I'm there, it's all business.
And you can't really fully appreciate, like, for instance, the Battle of the 93s. I can't wait to see Russ, Emil, and Gustav go. Especially, I think it was, I don't know if it's Sheffield or Worlds when I had those fellas on. I think it was actually, I can't remember which one. Anyways, I had an in studio King of the Lifts, and I
Yeah.
asked Emil and Gustav, I said, Russ is coming up to 93. Oh, and Kaiko too. And I asked, I think it was Worlds then. And I asked the fellas, what do you think about that? And they gave in their thick European accents, we will be prepared. Are you worried about it? We're not worried. Let him come. Let him come. And then Russ comments in there, I'll see y'all boys soon. And they're so close. Like, 2 kilos separate all these guys. Are you hyped for that one? What are you
I
thinking
am.
about the 93s?
I am. I'm definitely hyped to see that go down. I'm excited for all the battles that are going to happen at Sheffield. It's just I can't for a second take like sight off of what I'm doing there, which sucks because I
Mm.
want to see people like, especially on deadlifts. Like I want to watch like those last pulls and make or break it for people. And but if I get into that, I lose goal of what my job is, what my purpose is.
Mm.
And I'll probably honestly go back after all is said and done and just watch the um a little bit of the competition afterwards. Like anything I wanted to see that I missed, I'll just watch it. And it'll probably be the last deadlifts, honestly. But yeah, I'll go back and retrack.
It's the tough part about competing.
Yeah, it sucks because I want to see these battles manifest and happen the same way any fan does. But you gotta like when you're an athlete. I mean, for me, I gotta stay locked in.
It's going to be so crazy at Sheffield too. I'm telling you, but
Oh God. Oh,
it's nuts. It not only is the competition itself nuts, the meet and greet afterwards, people go like it's crazy to see powerlifters with lineups like that, man. It's
yeah.
just crazy. The lineups people have just to meet you, take pictures with you, you sign their belts, t-shirts, whatever. It's like nothing you've ever seen, and for you to be in it's going to be amazing. And then even the banquet
Yeah.
is freaking awesome. Like it's, dude, I love it. Like I love the whole. It's such an amazing. I'm glad you're going to be there. You're going to have a crazy
So
good
excited.
experience. And lifting there on that stage when everybody's going crazy, it's I get goosebumps. I'm getting excited just thinking about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, who do you think is the favorite for the 93s right now? And there's still a month, and anything could change. You could see a video that changes anything, so it's not like a prediction.
I say Russ is probably the favorite. No, I don't know. This is a hard question.
I know. Isn't it the toughest though? You
Yeah.
got all of them have won world championships, broken world
Yeah.
records, and all of them have been to Sheffield. Like they're all so seasoned.
It's anyone, I feel like it's anyone's game, but it's like,
And the thing, Gustav is looking good again, huh?
yeah, Gustav is looking
He's
dialed.
looking good again.
Yeah, he
So is
is.
Rusto. So is Rusto.
I know. It like hurts because there's so much talent within that weight class and the gentlemen that are going to be there. It's just oh, it could be anyone's card. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like I like Gustav. I don't know. Ryan,
No,
I don't.
if Russ gets the easiest cop out is saying the old if Russ gets all three squats.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
that's the easiest cop out. If you ever got your back to the wall, just be like, if Russ gets all three, I don't know, he's tough to beat. You know,
Right.
just lay on that one. That's what everyone does. But yeah, I can't. I'm excited to see because Russ at North Americans, he was dealing with a stomach issue, so his body weight was actually low, and he still did phenomenal. And
Yeah.
that was him not under the best condition. Like went to the wrong country, had a stomach flu, so he was. It wasn't amazing conditions, and he still broke the world record and went off. So Russ at 100%, because he's like Russ is that guy. If he's 100% or not, he's going to do good. But
Yes.
he's so consistent for like a decade. He's very even if he's not 100%, he's like won world titles or won battles. So
Right.
we'll see, but he knows he cannot take these fellas lightly. He knows, and we've come full circle from the call out to here he is. Now we're gonna sort it. So I'm excited to see that one. Um, Also, what about the um Heather Connor versus Turbo Tiff?
That's gonna be a
What
good
are your
one.
what are your thoughts on that?
I I'd love to see Heather pull something through. I think that'd be awesome. I think that's going to be a really good matchup. I just started scouting a little bit with Turbo Tiff. I wasn't too sure of her beforehand, but I just started scouting her a little bit, watching her lifts. She's really strong too. I like to see Heather take it though.
Oh, she's American, of course. You're gonna
I
root for Team
know,
USA.
I know. Oh, yeah, yeah. It's actually funny because we talked the other day after my SPD video came out, and we related like on stories and stuff like that. It was cool. So I also have that like soft spot for her now too. So it'd be good to see her pull through.
And Turbo Tiff, man, posting up like 450 2 to 3 times since Worlds. She took that L at Worlds and was like turned on since then. Got like sometimes it's the best thing for you to take an L.
Yeah, it
To you
is.
because Turbo Tiff has been winning for so many years in a row. Finally took an L for the first time ever in her entire career and was like, "Oh, don't like how this feels." And actually Heather was talking about it when we were doing commentary. She's like, "Yeah, I thought it would stimulate her and get her going, but 450 2 3 times in a row, settle down. What the hell's going on here?" God bless. Heather's like always honest though, shoots from the hip, whatever. But yeah, I can't wait. That I think is a battle of like two all-time greats in the 47 kilo class will be huge. The battle of 63s is huge as well. Megan Scanlon returning to the 63s with a bad taste in her mouth. She did not like how Worlds went. She lost her title to Elba.
Yeah.
Kiara's been doing phenomenal, and Meg is like, I am better than that. She had actually some. She didn't go deep into it on King of List, but she mentioned she had some distractions around that World Championships that made things difficult, and things are sorted, and she's ready to rock and roll, and feels like she can redeem herself. And everyone loves a good redemption arc. So
Yeah.
let's and at Avances and SPD Austin, she did phenomenal. So now it's like, oh, this would be in terms of that redemption arc, revenge redemption. Here we are, and
Yeah.
Alba returns. Kiara's back. I want to see what happens.
It's gonna be exciting. This whole event's just gonna be insane. Like
Yeah,
I've never been somewhere where it's so stacked. Obviously this is the meet. Um, so it's really exciting for me to see all these like now we take the matchups from Worlds, the great matchups there, and we just narrow that list. And now it's just like,
and there's
yeah,
a lot of good head to heads, which I like. They got a good like the formula is unique. It's not GL points, it's percentage you break the world record, so it's a unique formula, different. Good. Let's have a little bit different, but they always stack it with head-to-head clashes to make things straight kilo for. You can also look at it like that, straight kilo for kilo. Let me see what happens. Another one, Sonita and Brittany at the super
yeah,
heavyweight class. These two ladies in 2026 or sorry in 2025 alone they've beaten each other like so first Sonita won at Sheffield, then Britt won at Worlds, and then at World Games Britt won on jail points and won, but Sonita out-totaled her, so it becomes like they're so close neck and neck. It's like we need to sort this. We it's like they kick it away from. They're constantly volleying the volleyball back and forth, and every time they clash, flip a coin. I don't know who's going to win. I got no
right.
freaking idea. I'll tell you this though, whoever wins is the strongest woman in history all over again. They keep pushing each other new boundaries like that, and that clash alone is going to be phenomenal.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, dude, it's
It's gonna be
crazy.
crazy.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy. I can't wait to see it. Yeah. For Sheffield, I mean, I'm not. We're gonna do a fantasy league preview show, blah blah blah. But so we'll see, and a lot can happen in a month. But um,
Absolutely.
but anyways, listen, sir, I appreciate you coming on the podcast. I appreciate you, kicking off and us talking about your background story. I seen the road to Sheffield. I had a conversation with Pete Spence. We're getting ready for Sheffield, and he had mentioned, or I had mentioned, yeah, I'm having Anthony on this weekend, and he said you're gonna want to check out that road to Sheffield, and I was like, okay, I'll check it out. And you did an absolutely phenomenal job. Um, you did an absolutely phenomenal job telling your story here, and I know it's going to resonate with people. And this will be a highly shared and talked about podcast episode. Good luck with training, my friend. Good luck
Thank
with all your pursuits. I will see you in just a few short weeks, which is freaking crazy. But
you.
I'll see you in a few short. I'm crazy excited, but I'll see you in a few short weeks, and we'll talk at Sheffield, man. And
Yeah,
when right now, like just focus on what the task at hand. But when you reach out to some high schools and whatnot, let me know how it goes. Keep me
I
in the
got
loop.
you. I
And
got you.
I'm glad you ended up where you end up, where you can help some kids already, and wait
Yeah.
until they find out your story as a whole. But
Yeah.
thank you for coming on, sir.
Thank you for having me.
And for everybody listening, as per usual, please do subscribe, give us high ratings, and until next time, six pack Lapadat, six up, and we are out.